Well, he may have it his own, like on the
He doesn't have it.
so that's why he doesn't return all of that.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm looking, I've got access to Mariah's drive, and I've been through that.
So
Because I was looking for it so I wouldn't have to pay the first 2013.
this actually is a very simple process to do. It's for us just to act and change that from a 4 to a 6. 2011, here it is right here, it was a 6.
and the numbers are pretty much the same that we budgeted in
Well, yeah,
2011.
what I just gave you, is I went through and priced out every officer, and I priced out 6 street officers. And it comes to 950, and we're at 943. So that difference is premium pay for some of these other ones probably, and the overtime, etc. But the court,
The correctional.
correction officers, they're an hourly deal, and I have no idea. That's a fluctuating figure. That's so. All of our evidence proves that it should be the same.
Well, the other issue is the fact that we've had 6 officers all year long, until just very recently. And I think if we had, in fact, budgeted for 4, we would not have dealt with 6 all year long without some complication or issue about it.
Well, that's just it, because
It's only now that we are trying to get those positions filled, those 2 missing positions, that this item, what we'll call a typo for nothing better, is causing us the problem.
But the mayor is acting in his authority. It says 4 in the budget, and it's fully staffed at 4, so we have no recourse to him at all. We can't just say, hey, never mind, let's make out it. We can't do that.
the conversation that I was in Ken Moose's office on Saturday when we were going over this, he called Brian Sontag, the auditor, state auditor, while I was sitting in his office. And the state auditor says the dollar amount budgeted overrides the number of FTEs. Does that make sense?
That
So
makes
we
sense.
budgeted the dollar amount that fills 6 FTEs, that overrides that 4 sitting there in that column. There's another little thing on there too, it's asterisk, that we were supposed to go back and revisit this once negotiations were done. And so we never did that either. He said, so that makes that number null and void as well, because we never went back to it once negotiations were done.
And I wasn't intending to address that until we get the retro taken care of, because that's when we find out what we have to address.
So the other thing that needs to be brought to the attention is what John was alluding to as well. Since the beginning of the year, we have monthly schedules that show 6 officers, 6 officers, 6 officers, up until July when we started losing officers. Now that we've lost officers, or they were sick, and we were operating with 4 officers, the dollar amount of our overtime is like quadruple what we would normally spend in overtime, because we do not have the coverage in the city for 4 officers. So that's, I remember having a conversation about 6.5.
Yes, but they didn't want to do that half officer thing again.
Exactly, so that's for 6.
What did the auditor suggest? How do we get this FTE so we can, the mayor's not going to accept saying, oh, well, the auditor says the dollar figure overrides the.
All it would take would be a resolution from the council to clarify the FTE staffing requirement.
It would be an ordinance, because it was adopted by ordinance. You take an ordinance to amend an ordinance.
The only way that I could find that we could do it, and that's why I wanted to call a special meeting, because if this whole thing is delaying everything, according to Gail Bennett, it'll delay everything in 3 to 4 weeks. on it, if we just go the regular source.
Okay.
So we just need to have an ordinance prepared for Monday to change the FTE
Well,
on
now
2012.
now it won't make any difference. Monday, I want to have a meeting like this Monday, but they're in right now, but
Why won't it make a difference on Monday?
we'll lose another week.
Well, it's better than losing the rest of the year.
Well, I understand
Yeah,
that,
so,
but
I know.
we got people online and stuff, you know, and they're sticking around, and other agencies are going after them too, the good ones, and so,
Yeah, the ordinance have to be retroactive January 1.
so,
Well, actually, for negotiation, I think.
You
anyway,
can't
what I tried to
retroactive-
talk with you
We have to basically address it like we were supposed to address it once negotiations were done. It would be following through with that action and moving it to SCE. Since we never have done it.
Yeah. No, and I still don't have that. I have the person in place, he's working on the retro, and then I'll know how much that's gonna hit. It's gonna be big.
So, what's the recommendation? I mean, we can talk to Mr. Luce, I can look at the contractual requirements, we can talk to, if I need to,
Ask the city attorney to draft an ordinance and put it on the floor next Monday for vote.
that's all we gotta do is change that typographical error from 4 to a 6. That's all we have to do. So,
but it won't be retroactive.
Well, we can't, it doesn't matter.
Well, I understand.
We don't, we need to go through here perfectly.
The auditor said that the dollar figure overrides the number. So all we're doing is cleaning up the budget, cleaning up the language.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So,
So what we need to do to prove that dollar number is right, instead of rounding off like Clint was doing, that payroll would know what they paid each officer when they did that budget, if the treasurer is listening.
Sorry.
We're just talking about, we're just talking about,
Payroll
we could
records.
pull the
I mean, your payroll
record
records will
at the
tell,
end of the
you'll
year.
know exactly what you were paying each officer. When they figured out the budget and see that, yep, you're right, those dollar numbers match a 6 FTE per officers and plus the sergeants.
Depends on how you do your budget. They did all the base salaries and they would include so much for overtime. And that, so even,
Separated, I think it's just
is it
salaries.
separated out? So even if we
Yeah.
looked at the end of the year, 2012 payroll records, it would show moving to 2012, or at end of 2011, it would show where you were at that might support the dollar figure in the budget.
Right, and I'm pretty sure
If we
you
can't
were
find
to
the
do that,
spreadsheet.
you would find it. And once you're able to support that number that we are budgeted, we'd be easy to write a resolution that it's 6 FTE.
Do you have access to, M. Nelson Drive?
Well, Pam Nelson won't help us, because that's the year that she was thrown in as half officer for the year, and that all screwed up.
But I'm wondering if she had started the spreadsheet before she left for the next year.
But she would have been in February, I doubt it. Or March, when did she leave?
yeah, about that.
You want to go ahead and point that out?
So, I pulled up the 2012 budget, at least as it was proposed to council. I'm assuming the council didn't make any changes here, but I'm looking at that FTE spreadsheet, and at the bottom it has 48.8 total authorized and budgeted staff, and
But it doesn't add up to the number, even if you add, but it's not by two.
it's not by two.
It's by a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, we've got more issues with that, because even if it does show, this one shows that same typo of 4.0 on police officer, if you take that to 6, it still doesn't, if you add in the correction sergeant, 3 corrections officers, still doesn't get you to 48.8.
No, it doesn't.
What's
I-
it get you to?
I got 45.8,
Oh, you got closer than I did.
but I called the correction sergeant and 3 corrections officers FTEs.
Oh, see now, yeah,
so-
and
Yeah.
those are not even, I mean, they work like 8 hours
Yeah.
every
so
2 weeks.
take those out, and I
But
got
they're
to-
added into the FTE numbers.
All 3 of those put together don't actually make up one full FTE.
I was trying to help them out.
Well,
Didn't
and
work.
quite honestly, just taking the, there's that salary range for each one, and that would be all fine and dandy, except for some people make outside of that. Because I discovered that in community services, that director position was not within what I was told was the range, and there was more budgeted, and so, which makes it even harder with your 6 officers, because you can't just take that 66,000 as the high range,
Right.
because other people were making outside the
And
pay salary.
when I budget, I plan for the highest it could possibly be, anticipating that there's gonna be raises. Well, now we have contracts, then there weren't, so I don't know where that's gonna be, but I'll run numbers.
I think my impression was, and I could be wrong, my impression is they were going off the old contracted number, and that's why they're saying we need to revisit this when negotiations take place, because that number was gonna change. So I think if you went off the old salary
I'll
at the
try.
end of the year and then added it up, I bet you were gonna come out to, oh, yeah, I guess that is it.
I can try it. I'll plug numbers in and bring them.
But anyway, I just want to let you know that according to Brian Sontag, I can say his name. It'd be easier to say. That number does trump the number that says FTE. The budgeted number is the number that should go out.
Can we get that in writing somewhere?
I just want to send it to Ken if you want it, since needs something to show that.
Yeah, because we would need that, we probably actually will need that for the audit that
Well,
we're
we're
currently
also-
going through.
Well, we're also would probably tell you the same thing, wouldn't he?
I don't know that.
I mean, I would think, if that's.
I can ask
he should know.
him, but I wouldn't count,
Okay.
I can't put
Okay.
words in his mouth.
Anyway, I think that's the direction that we need to go for at this time, and see where we are. I mean, we don't have any way to add up the documentation. We're very much under the understanding we had budgeted 6 officers because we can't cover the city with 4. There's no, can't cover the city. And it's very obvious if you look at the overtime when we have 4.
Overtime is pouring.
6 officers is still down 2, so shouldn't be happening.
Exactly. But we were able to look
Okay,
at
where's the tree
Information that one of those officers,
Yeah.
the phantom officers slush fund, the Calkins keeps
I
bringing
think
to
she's
council.
gonna plug in the
and
numbers
never
to see
hires.
what there is.
And bring it over.
And bring an ordinance.
And that's why you have
That number
2
matches with the budget.
people sharing the half-time
And bring an
position.
ordinance forward,
That's how you got 6 people on payroll for 5 salaried
correct? Is that what council's understanding is?
for the last half
Yeah.
of 2011.
Any other comments?
I was just gonna say, if she has any direction conflicting to that, let us know. Somebody tells you not to do an ordinance. You understand? That's all I'm saying, that if there's a person in particular that's skirting around that wants to stick to the 4, I wanna make sure that the ordinance gets pushed. If she's directed not to do it, then let us know so that we can push forward to it.
Well, and we are asking for the documentation to show that we
Right.
budgeted 6 FTEs.
That I had written down. I added the
No
ordinance.
conflict, that's just what we wanna know.
My job is to give you the information you're asking for.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Anything else?
Good night.
We're adjourned. Sorry, it was at 15 minutes.
Because Angelica said it'd be a short meeting.
I know.
I blame her.
Good
Good job, Beth.
Yes, thank you.